Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the slim S Pen case for the Z Fold 5. Now, you may have noticed I'm holding it in my hand, but the fold is over here, and that's because I had to stop using this case because of the defect in the housing cutout for the S Pen. The S Pen will just fall out. It doesn't fall out instantly, as you can see, but even when I do this, I can feel the play, and then over the course of using it, you can see it moving right now, this will eventually fall out rather than only coming out if you use the button as it was at least designed to operate. So, of course, I shared a video about this, and I still think this is the best case ever made for the Fold. It just needs to have this defect remedied, and that's because when this S Pen is inside of the case, it is nearly invisible. And that is what everybody is looking for that owns a Fold, who cares about having the stylus. We want a device where the S Pen is built in, and this is as close as we've ever come. So it's incredibly disappointing that, well, they came up short, and it does seem like Samsung didn't even bother to test this, because even though my wife's case is not defective, it does still have play, and I think over time that will change. And based on many of your comments, and at least what I've seen on the internet, since this phone and case started getting into consumer households, this is pretty widespread. So this has nothing to do with the color of the case, the lot it was manufactured in. I know a lot of people are trying to source a good lot. Maybe this will end up getting rectified. I feel like Samsung has to weigh in, but right now it just seems like an engineering flaw. So best case, biggest engineering flaw, and it's really unfortunate. So I contacted Samsung to do an exchange, and as you may have already noticed, I've got the Spigen FinFit P, which is the only other case on the market that supports the new S Pen. And upon contacting Samsung, I just requested an exchange. That was it. They could not do an exchange. Then I said, well, how about you just let me purchase another one at the discounted price I paid for this one, which was 70 rather than 100 US dollars. And, you know, I do think that price was a bit much, but fair considering the pen is $50 on its own. And this ThinFit P case from Spigen is $50, and, well, it's not as well made as this case if this defect didn't exist, of course. So basically, the end result was they kept going back and forth with solutions. I actually had to present logical ones, which were, you know, along the lines of, okay, I'll order another case, but you have to take the $30 off. It's not right that I'm floating more money. In fact, they had to check whether or not they could ship out another one, because I had said, why not just take my credit card information, ship me another one, and then if I don't return it, bill me? Like, what is this idea? I'm not a bank. I'm not a financial institution. I can't keep fronting money for Samsung, and none of you should either. That's just unethical and wrong, especially in light of the fact this is not a matter of, you know, buyer's remorse. This is a defective case. The end result was they told me they could price match the case and let me order it and then refund, you know, that amount once they received the return. And I finally said, okay, you know, that's not right, but I'll do it, to which they then realized they had none in stock. Of course, I checked if they had inventory prior to making the call, and they did that morning, but by the time I was on the phone with them and the call had been dragged out, which it did, of course, there was no inventory. So I asked for a supervisor. The supervisor essentially said, look, I can give you a different color if you like. And I said, no, the icy blue color is the one I'm after. So, you know, what's the next step? So he then, on his own volition, offered me a $50 gift card, essentially a code, which I never received. He told me as soon as we got off the call, I would also receive an email from him. That also never happened. And I have his information, but like, to what end am I going to pursue that? I already was not happy with that experience. And this is the way any company can turn you off as a consumer, right? Even if their product is amazing, bad customer service goes a long way to turning people off, especially people who are converts. Now, I'm not a convert, but if you just came from Apple and this was your experience, I could see how that would leave, well, a sour taste, to say the least. And, you know, the end result was he just told me, besides all this BS about the coupon and his personal email from his work account, of course, that once I see the cases back in stock, just contact, we'll create a new order, and that will be it. And that's where I left it, because, again, if I'm not getting the icy blue, I'm right now, I'd like to get what I wanted, what I paid for. If I have to take a substitution down the road, maybe, but that was that. So got off that call, didn't receive the coupon, didn't receive the email. And for those of you that follow my channel, you already know I'm still waiting on a resolution for my Defective Fold 4 that died 10 months into its existence in warranty, of course. My warranty is actually going to be up, I think, like at the end of next week. So in comes the ThinFit P. And the reason I'm sharing this as part of the update on the defective case is because this is the only option you have right now on the market to support the new Slim S Pen. And I have used this case for the last 2 generations. You can see I have the Fold 4 version right here. And that was designed to accommodate, of course, the larger S Pen. And it's a good case. I never used the back of the case. Here I have it installed right now. I haven't actually taken the adhesive strips off so that it would stick yet because I'm not final on this. Maybe on the front cover, but I have to say, as soon as I started using this, I missed this case. And that's because the integration of the S Pen here is seamless just about, whereas, this creates this huge lip. And I have to tell you, it's not that easy to pull this out. I feel like the larger S Pen was easier. There was more surface area, and the fit was maybe just a little bit looser. It's not going to fall out this generation or the previous. And trust me, I absolutely love the ThinFit P S Pen case. Even though I never used the back, I always thought it was great because it also made the phone easier to open, which for me, wasn't an issue, but definitely was nice to have. But what I can tell you so far is that unless I can find an aramid, carbon fiber case like this one right here with a kickstand, I'm still kind of up the creek. And the fact that I now was sort of spoiled by this case is nowhere near as attractive as it once was. I do miss this already just in the first day of using the ThinFit. And I have to say, the other reason that the ThinFit is not, that attractive to me is because the S Pen got smaller, right? We have a thinner S Pen. So the last thing I want is the same bulky design that was meant to support this pen. In fact, this makes me want to go back to using this S Pen because this one is hard to get out. But as you already know, this cannot fit here. And this case from the Fold 4 does not fit on this. Even if you want to make it fit, I'm sure you could. It's not really worth it. The cutouts are not exactly the same, or maybe they're very close, but at least from me trying to stick it on there, the fit was not very good. And I can show you all that right now. I'll go ahead and open up the phone and pop it on, and you'll see that it, for whatever reason, I mean, granted, the adhesive, if I put the adhesive on, it would stay in place, but I don't know if it has to do also with like the hinge design, but it's just not quite as firm. Again, I'm sure I can make it work. It is definitely larger than the new version, but that's because we're working with, a bigger S Pen back then. So that's where things are at. Pretty much a sideways move for me, which is disappointing. I did not anticipate that I would miss this case as soon as I put this on. In fact, I thought this was going to be the legitimate solution. And now that I have these mixed feelings about the way this is working and the fact that the new S Pen is so slim, but we just bulked things up, I don't know exactly where to go from here. So I'm interested in what all of your comments are. Again, I've got an aramid case for this phone. Check that out. It's also a nice case, but it doesn't support the S Pen, nor does it have a kickstand. So I'm still kind of sitting on my hands. And before anybody recommends any, kickstand-oriented case that's huge, I will not entertain that. You know that if I want carbon fiber, I'm looking for the smallest, the thinnest, the footprint has to be minimal. And the fact that this is a thinner case than even this, but the S Pen integration is worse, well, I also feel like this case is much more solid than the ThinFit P design. But that's the update on the Slim S Pen case. I still have a love-hate relationship with it, and at this point, I'm just hoping that Samsung addresses this, fixes it so that I can actually get one of these and just throw a universal, speaking kickstand on it and call it a day. Because this would still be my first choice, considering, the experience I feel like I'm having right now with the ThinFit P. But any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.